Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, great and wonderful people of Biafra. In case you missed it, the message from our Lolo Uchechi Kanu, the First Lady of Biafra Nation, I present it back to you. But before then, I want those of you who have reason to understand that when Lolo Uchechi Kanu speaks, it is indeed Mazen Namde Kanu speaking, regardless of whoever that want to be, prejudiced against our Lolo, regardless of who want to be jealous of our Lolo, regardless of who want to be, ignorant. It does not matter. The most important thing is that our Lolo has delivered her message. And I know that her message is a very, very wise message, which came, some of them came in a figurative word. Some of them came, he delivered them in a very, very prestigious manner, which so many of our people might not be able to actually understand it. That is the reason why I am going to give you a glimpse of what she said, because everything that she said here, and everything that is in her, speech and her, actions, it points out to the leadership that our leadership are on the right track. It points out that Mazen Namde Kanu is proud of the leadership. That is the reason why she said that our HOD, already said everything, that she will not talk too much. It is a very, very important message that you need to decode there. And secondly, she was actually talking about how our people discern, how our people understand, and the gullibility of our people. She talked about it, which is the most, biggest problem that we are actually facing in Biafra land. The understanding and the gullibility of our people. Our people lack a lot of wisdom. That is the reason why in my recent preaching I told you that if you don't know what to pray, you need to start praying for wisdom from God. And our Lolo also added it that you must start praying for knowledge. Because when you have those two things, you will actually not be gullible. You will not be available for somebody to exploit you. That is a very important, things that you need to actually acquire in your life. Wisdom and knowledge. When you have those, you will never be ignorant. Because those who lack wisdom and knowledge, they are deeply in ignorance. And those ignorant people, they will never be able to conceive the truth. They will never be able to actually reciprocate. They will never be able to, understand or discern. So that is the reason why you must pray for, for wisdom and knowledge to understand and to discern when somebody is using you and when you are being fooled. So we are going to reiterate on the speech of our Lolo Uchechi Kanu, because she actually gave us a wonderful message here. That is to show that she is specially made for our leader. I know that so many people are very mad. So many people are very angry because each time she comes online, I know that the kingdom of the enemy, they are trembling. Of course, we will expect them to start making their, treacherous speeches and their, ignorant speeches. We don't actually care about it. All we know is that we will continue to propagate this gospel. We will continue to stand, behind her because she is our Lolo. And when she speaks, you should know that Mazen Namde Kanu has spoken. She is the better half of Mazen Namde Kanu. And there is no way she will speak something different, from what Mazen Namde Kanu wanted or wants. It is very, very important for you to know the bond between a husband and wife. And it is very, very important for you to understand that there is no way anybody will claim to love Mazen Namde Kanu and will be praying for his release and will not actually recognize his better half and respect her. It means that person is in Dokwam. They are all criminals. And we will continue to deal with them because we have actually defeated them. Very, very soon, they are going to be diminished. They will diminish. You will never hear from them again. Very, very soon. So let me present to you that wonderful message from our Lolo. We will come back to actually analyze it more. Let's go.
And plain as I can possibly be. Our HOD has spoken very well today. It is also left for you to digest and understand his message. And if you do not understand the fused sentences, please ask your brother, ask your sister, a lawyer friend, a doctor friend, whoever is versed in understanding to break these messages down for you. I am here today to bring you the message of our leader, to reiterate the importance of his teachings, which points at the reasoning pattern of our people. I will not waste our time. Nihina ogologo akoko ekwu too much on ebuta nchefu. Equal too much brings you a situation where the brain gets saturated and information gathered becomes useless. So it is our responsibility in 2023 to start to stimulate the part of the brain which incorporates the combination of our level of consciousness and reasoning called the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe, it is one of the 4 lobes in the brain. And different parts, and each part with a. So the burden of our people, I have come to say, is when Onyenduanye continues to say the black man reasons in the very, very low frequency. He keeps pointing at the reasoning capacity of a black man. That is the part of the brain. It is the frontal lobe. It enhances your understanding and the level of your reasoning. The frontal lobe, amongst other parts of the brain, is the area which enables the cognitive process to take place. That is where your understanding comes from. That is where the analysis and critical thinking and that ability for you to reason and plan, that is where it takes place, the frontal lobe. Over the few centuries, there has been an apparent show of an acceptance of subjugated reasoning. In Africa, every Francophone and Anglophone colony have specific differences which either portrays the French or the British culture, which makes them respond and conform to the benefit of their colonial masters. Let us take Igbo landing, for example. The Igbo landing event, I believe our people, they understand history, so I try as much as I can not to keep talking about the histories, but rather take it to expatiate or make clarifications of my meanings. So the Igbo landing event was a prime example of those who refused to conform to an unfamiliar way of reasoning, which was being imposed on them. That right there was a great difference in attitude between those who were originally enslaved and generations that have followed, who gradually allowed their thinking to be subjugated. So to enact a change, which is what today is about, we come into 2023. What I got a church 31st of December and then when I was in secondary school, I would get a piece of paper. I would write all my resolutions. The next year I will be this person. I will do this. I will do that. I always had one resolution all the time: how to change to talk to somebody, because I am known to be too, I'm front. I will tell it to you as it is. So, and our people, we misconstrue being told the truth and being insolent. They mix it up together. Because you're older than me doesn't mean I can't tell you what you're doing wrong. And that is why our people are where they are today. So as you come into 2023, what have you got on your slate? What is the new situation you want to find yourself in? What is the new clothing you want to put on? What do you intend to leave behind as 2022 has come and gone? Do you want to remain in the same abject poverty of the mind? We have allowed the poverty of the mind to determine how we behave, to determine how we interact with our brothers and our sisters. So to enact the change, what I come here with today is that frontal lobe. We need to train it. It has to be trained. It has to be exercised and stimulated with simulations. What do I mean by that? Create and play scenarios. Like I say, find your brother who is more versed in understanding and let them break down this for you. You have to understand, because understanding is what leads you from a lower place to a higher place. I am an church. You Bible say you get understanding. So in getting understanding, or rather get knowledge, get wisdom. In everything you get in this life, make money, do everything, but in all, get understanding. So you have to get someone who would explain further if you do not understand what I'm trying to say today. Because if we change the way we think and reason, then our situation will change. So create and play scenarios. What I mean by that, in order, if I make a movie, you create different movie. Don't just think in that line. Do something they call what if analysis. So mmadụ dara ada, onye a dara ada, onye onye anọ n'akụkụ ya kwaturu ya. Do a what if analysis and say, enwere mmiri nwụrụ n'ala pushuru onye ada, enwere okpo banana nọ there mere onye ada, okpo banana n'ebe ahụ onye tụsara ya, onye ahụ guzo ebe ahụ tụsara ya for somebody else to say. I'm just trying to break it down so everybody would understand where I'm coming from. So don't just see a picture and that is a picture. You have to come from a diverse perspective in order to arrive to what you're looking at. In 2023, claim of a trapped frontal lobe, that part of the brain that helps you to reason, that processes your cognitive patterns. Cleanse yourself from that clutching.
Our Lolo said, you should be able to do a what if analysis. What if analysis. Do you know what that means? It simply means when you hear a particular narrative with regards to something that confuses you, and you get a report from a particular person in their own perspective, you should actually use your own perspective to say, what if there is an error from this message I am hearing? What if there is a motive behind this message that I am hearing? What if there is, a selfish interest behind this message I am hearing in this, guys. Let me elaborate further, or let me explain further, which is when somebody come and tell you that Judge Money is the one who sold Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, and then you were not there, you have no, they did not give you a proof, they just tell you that I sold Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, and that is the reason why I have changed my car. Just like whenever I do a program in one of my cars, somebody will come and tell you, or write in the comment section, that Judge Money, you already also changed your car. It means that you have collected your own share. You know, something like that. When you read a comment like that, you need to ask yourself, what if this is the truth? Because you can, you know, you must either work in the favor of Judge Money or you work against Judge Money, but there must be what if, which is very important. What if this person is making sense? In that what if, it leads you to investigate further, to know if this person is making sense or not. But do not just believe that Judge Money did it or Judge Money did not do it. That is most important thing, because the narrative that you have been sold to all this while, ever since the kidnap of our leader, is about the DOS sold Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. The DOS sold Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. Why don't you ask yourself, what if those who are actually telling you that the DOS sold Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, what if they are playing victim? What if they are the ones who did it? And now, because they have ulterior motive, they have a plan. And that plan can only be, manifested only when they take Mazen Nnamdi Kanu out of the picture and now find every means possible to destroy the DOS, which is the hierarchical structure or administrative structure which is seeing to the day-to-day activities and affairs of IPOB in the absence of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. You say, what if these people have a selfish interest which actually made them to remove Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, run out to play victim? What if they are the ones who did it? And because they reported it first, then you believe that they are not the ones. What if they are the ones who did it, and every day they are all over the place telling you the same thing? DOS sold Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. DOS is a criminal. That person is a criminal. This person is a killer squad. And you never ask yourself, what if these people are wrong? What if this person is doing this thing for his own selfish benefits? You never ask yourself that. That is exactly what she was trying to actually pass through to you. It is a figurative word, not that very deep figurative word, but I put it that way because so many of our people, you don't have the power to discern. You don't have the power to understand a very simple, analysis or very simple grammar being spoken by a very well-learned person in the position of our Lolo. So that is the reason why I am here this, I probably wherever you are, but in Biafra land, I know this night to actually, explain it further, because it is very important. The message that she gave to you was a coded message, which has been the problem of our people. Whenever you hear a coded message, you will not be able to actually digest or understand it or extract a very important information when it is given. So now, what you are going to be looking for further when you are listening to our Lolo, you need to be looking for that what if that she was talking about, those whom you believe that you are actually loyal to are the biggest enemy that you have in this struggle. Remember that after Mazen Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped, so many people, they played victim, and they started, actually, when we were defending some of them, they were with us, they were acting as if they were with us. And when they saw that we have defended them and their name is almost cleaned, they now went to start doing the bidding of the enemy. What if those you believe that your loyalty lies with? I'm talking to everybody, I'm talking to everyone, including those who are aligning with Kanu Kanu, including those who are aligning with autopilot, because they are all the same to me, including those who are aligning with Nnenayanya. They are all the same to me. What if there is something behind all these people not trying to destroy the structure? Because if you look at the agent provocateur, their plan is to destroy the structure. If you look at the activities of Kanu Kanu, his plan is to undermine the structure, which is also working towards the destruction of the structure. If you look at the activities of Ejimako today, Ejimako is not sincere towards the structure. If you look at so many of our comrades today, because of what they are benefiting from the finance department and from Kanu Kanu, or they believe that Kanu Kanu is our leader's brother, without knowing or asking themselves, what if Kanu Kanu, the enemy must have used him without him knowing? What if he is dancing the dance of the enemy, or the beat, dancing according to the beat of the enemy without him knowing? What if he knows? What if there is something that he wants to acquire in this game that is being played? You look at yourself, you ask yourself, what if Nnenayanya is not being accountable today because he knows the reason why he don't want to be accountable? He knows their initial plan against our leader. All these things, it is not confirmed, but I am giving you an example or deeper example of what you need to think about when somebody tell you to think about what if. It is not specific. There is something you are actually missing on the from the information that you are being given, or from your loyalty towards these people who are fighting what Mazen Nnamdi Kanu deep-rooted and told you to go and listen to, that anything that they said goes. He said to you, anything DOS says goes. If they call you on the phone, you refuse to take their call, it means that the enemy have bought you over. And when he was saying that, he was not exceptional to anybody, including Kanu Kanu or Nnenayanya. He was not exceptional. He said that, generally, everybody will be under this hierarchical structure, which was actually laid down by Mazen Nnamdi Kanu to actually carry out the affairs of IPOB in his absence, and they do the same when he is around. If that thing is strong or difficult, then it must be directed to him. That was his word. What if they did it and they know that the only structure that will keep the struggle going is this structure of DOS? What if they are fighting it so that everybody will scatter like a sheep? These are the things you need to be looking for in this message of our Lolo, the better half of our leader. When she speaks, I can hear the voice of her husband, our leader, speaking. And you should also listen deeply to it. Let us go there. There are many things I said which is not what she meant when I talk about Kanu Kanu, Nnenayanya, or any other person, it is not actually what she meant. It is actually my own what if. Because I want you to extend your own what if. Extend it to every angle that you want to extend it and reason. That's where the critical thinking is. The critical thought is all about what if what you are thinking is not the truth. Because when what if comes in, that means your now consciousness is now being awoken to investigate further. That is very important. So you need to go there. Let's go.
Of the trapped frontal lobe, as people are more comfortable when you are in such position. One of the dangers of an untrained frontal lobe is the perception of issues from emotional standpoint and getting on the bandwagon of mantras which are wrongfully comprehended, which subsequently exhumes foolishness and has brought us into a quagmire of a non-collective approach and an ununified stance. A very good example, we keep faffing about and making noise. Everybody's jumping. But you have Eze. A lot of our people take that mantra to simply mean a lack of leadership amongst our people. However, what it simply means is that the Igbo person does not conform to sentiments or emotions, but rather are able to question any narrative which portrays us as Republicans. We keep shouting we are Republicans in nature, we don't even know the meaning. Elohim, you don't even have no clue what it is. That frontal lobe is dormant. It's not active. The incorrect interpretation of Iwewenze is the reason we cannot work together as a community or group to achieve a desired purpose, because there is always a group within another group. And that is the reason any criminally minded person can easily penetrate any evil group and cause confusion to fester by introducing false narratives which our people easily conform to. You can also, when you look, you can also spot the hypocrisy of the ill-comprehended mantra. You said in Igbo, you can't tell me what to do. We are Republican in nature. But you seek a leader. And then when you get the leader, your next plot is how to form another line of leadership. Yes, your next plot is to form another line of leadership within and create your own group, which when created, you cannot have your own objective. You don't have yours. You want to achieve, you have no objective you want to achieve, you can't create any, but you spend your time maligning the group you just broke out from because you have a hunger for power and control, which of course eventually, that is as certain as the sun rises in the east, you will come down. Eventually you will fall because you started off on the wrong premise. Look around you. Use our frontal lobe. Activate it, stimulate it. Those parts of the world with a workable hierarchical structure. Dubai, for example, which is very close by. People, when I mean by close by, people go there often. They have a better sense of direction than our people. Howbeit, we have a better leverage of individual resources, which if combined, will dwarf Dubai in every area. But what do? What do we do instead? You go to Dubai, you snap pictures, you buy one and two things and return home, and then oppress your brother and sister who can barely feed 3 square meals a day and ask, who are you? You go on social media and feign your miserable life to those who know nothing about you. You need to have your frontal lobe checked and stimulated. Change the way you think, and you will change the outcome of events around you. I would have cited Abraham Lincoln as the only person I revere as a Republican. He was a great Republican, but that is too far from us. So I will give an example that is closer home, that is closer to home. And that would be the great man, Dr. Sam Mbakwe, as his soul continues to rest in peace, was a great Republican, albeit his second term administration was interrupted by Muhammad Buhari's 1983 coup. That would be a different analysis for another day. We also jump on that mantra. We are Republican in nature. You don't even understand the intricacies. Republicans think and act on behalf of the future generation, not for their immediate financial gratification, or try to ingratiate their way and stuff into other people's life by bribing them or doing whatever. Republicans protect their own from oppressors, from hunger, and the deprivation of adequate infrastructure. That is what Republicans do. They do not kill their own or cause mayhem and bloodshed in their land and against their own people. There are also dangers of emotional evaluation of issues, but that will be a topic for another day, where we let emotions, when your emotions push you, you act irrationally. You will make mistakes. You will not see. You cannot ask no any back. So, like when I lost my mother, and when I cry, I like to cry in my closet, like wail and weep. But when I cry in the crowd, I cannot see, and I need to see. So when you act out of emotion, you act foolishly. You end up looking like you're a foolish person. We have to leave our emotions and put on our thinking cap. Like I said, that will be a topic for another day. So if this can be achieved, if we can activate, stimulate our frontal lobe, come the end of 2023, we shall all have a more refined and unified perspective. Because no way, you're going nowhere. Maybe you will keep cycling. You're taking around, circling, rubbish. The other fool I jump on. For a long time. I have a quote out of in one of the times that I sit and tap into my consciousness. And I found that there are things known for people who just see things and know. And there are things unknown for people who can't just understand. Some people is right there looking at them in the face and they don't even understand what they're looking at. That other part of the brain, we'll talk about it in the future, is not activated as well. That tells you what object you're looking at and sends the information. So there are things known and there are things unknown. And in between these things, it is the door of perception. That is the problem of our people. Perception. Understanding. It is very important. Like I said, our HOD has said it all. I don't want to take too much of our time. I want us to have what he said and what message you're listening to today to stick in your head. You can come back to this very broadcast and listen to it. Let it be the light onto your path and recycle the information. Keep listening to it and finding the holes where you need to feel and how you need to activate your frontal lobe, because that is the main problem here. In conclusion, we now understand the functions of the frontal lobe and the importance of its stimulation. That is the problem. If you have your frontal lobe working, it will not take you one week. When I give you the biological structure and process of a structural and functioning system, it took you 1 week to understand, but you have no idea what I'm talking about. You're busy talking rubbish rather than staying within the context. Your frontal lobe is not developed, is half-baked, and you need to activate it. So you know, when you do not use an object, for example, when you go away or travel for maybe over years, and there is no one cleaning up a room or your house, or you have a particular room in your house where you barely use, over time, you would get a whiff of damp. You know, when you walk into the room, there's this damp whiff you get. Each time you try to access the room, you would, except you clean that room. And that damp smell is repulsive. And this means that when that frontal lobe is not activated, your utterances and your demeanor will be repulsive. Nobody will take you seriously. Nobody will take you seriously. You will be jumping from one post to another. Hey, 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 ha, ha, Aussie, 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 Aussie. The way some people take Aussie, Aussie, and you're looking at the person bringing the message Aussie. Is it how bad your brain has developed, or is this how bad your brain failed to develop? Oyen Akokwa here is claiming they attended school. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie again. You cannot sit down. Your frontal lobe is so inactive. It's so, you're lazy. You cannot stimulate it and use it to analyze and ask questions. Your frontal lobe is so inactive. You don't know that a man who is in captivity of a government can have access and send message through his attorney to his wife, and he can have communication with his wife, and his wife has gone to see him. Your frontal lobe is not thinking. Your frontal lobe is filled with cling film and dumped in a freezer. My little son would tell you the animals that live in Antarctica, what characteristics they have, what they put on to enable them to stay warm in that -5 degrees cold temperature. But you let your brain fall in there and it's sleeping. It's sleeping. You can't be helped. Wake up and use your frontal lobe, because you will have a home to go back to. We need our home to get where we are today. It's not our home. Noise, rubbish. You have to protect your fatherland, your motherland. So nobody will take us seriously if we continuously behave in this repulsive manner. This is what happens when that part of the brain is not stimulated. Your reasoning capacity, when that part of the brain remains unstimulated, the reasoning capacity becomes repulsive. Subsequently, most people from the lower hemisphere, or in the specificity, I would use the word sub-Saharan Africa. They fail to respond accordingly to the information being passed across, thereby weakening that ability over time. So when you don't use that part of the brain, it becomes inactive. It weakens. You can't reason for yourself. You want someone to reason and interpret it for us. That is why we have allowed people who do not understand the ways of God. He's not even meant for you to understand. People who do not understand the inception of what Christianity is all about, and understand the calling, who God has called and who God hasn't called. Everybody falls under the voice of somebody who is confused, someone who has a mental disorder, and you say, he's my pastor, he said. I am not against pastor or anything, but we need to be able to understand the difference between what God wants for us and what somebody wants. Be able to discern for yourself. You let someone read the Bible and interpret rubbish for you, and you let someone sit on social media and talk rubbish, and you can't. Your brain is tired. I don't know if it's the poverty, or I don't know what the problem is. But whatever the problem is, you know what they call prayer point? We need to use this frontal lobe as for those of you, Monday pray, Monday I go for. I go for can be change. Hindu. You pray. What people need to understand is the logos, is the similar thing, is the similarity. Every they all have one thing in common. What is that? The logos. And what is that? Is the word. Your tongue is your oracle. You speak. You speak in the affirmation that this is how I want this. You tap into the consciousness of your being. I look at some people and I laugh. You don't know the power you wield as a human. Tap into that realm of spirituality. We mix a lot of things up and everybody's confused. Better still, let's go back to the ways of our forefathers. Have finished on. They have finished on. They turned Africans, sub-Saharans especially, to Dundee. Everyone becomes a zombie. Rubbish. You bag PhD, you bag you think when you speak here, you know what I mean? That means you're intelligent. No? Or when someone says yacht, no, I'll say yacht. It's not yacht, it's yacht. Therefore, you're more intelligent. Your frontal lobe needs stimulating. What we need is, you need your franca lingua. You need some basic mathematics that will help you add 1 and 2, and then you need all other things, physics, whatever, taught in your lingua franca. If you have to. Also English language, and therefore you're intelligent. You're not. You need to work on your frontal lobe. Okay? That's what you need. This is the main reason Africans are easily swayed in the most obvious situation. You can see the apparent truth. No, you can't, because you can't critically analyze what you're looking at. You fall for it. We need to effectively manage perceived information, ensuring that whatever is presented to us is critically analyzed and evaluated to ensure that it conforms to appropriate understanding within our knowledge base. That is why we're different from monkey. It doesn't mean that monkeys can't do the things we do. They do it. You need to see a monkey washing a plate. He washes the plate, but he washes it differently from how the human does it. When your frontal lobe is stimulated and developed, you cannot be easily fooled or swayed. The frontal lobe in the brain helps to process perceived information. It enhances your reasoning capacity. When your reasoning capacity is enhanced, the way you evaluate and analyze information is different from the way a child who is 10 years old would analyze that same information. That is to show that you have developed. So we need to attain that level of reasoning power to enable your decision making. If you make a conscious decision, or if you had...
Okay, when we talk about the frontal lobe, you should understand that the frontal lobe that she is actually referring to, it is all about your consciousness. It is all about where your critical thinking comes in. So it is very, very important that in this, everything you hear, you should understand that what you hear or see, it might not necessarily be the truth, except if you investigate further, because it might be a perception, it might be a perspective, rather. It might be a perspective, not the truth, until you investigate further. So, if you understand what she is trying to say, for you to understand what she's saying here, it is only when you engage with these people who call themselves ectoparasite, or who are the ectoparasites, your agent provocateur, they are, these blind followers of theirs. When you engage them in WhatsApp groups, and there are people are sending me different voices, and when you engage these people in a WhatsApp group or in an argument one-on-one, you will understand that these people, they do not even, they are very far from discovering what their frontal lobe is, or whether they actually possess that. Not to talk about, even activating it, just like our Lolo is saying here. Activation of your frontal lobe, which enable you to do critical thinking and the critical analysis of information being passed to you. So many of them, when you speak to them, you know, only brain is there only monkey, because they reason, some of them reason like monkeys. Because if you think about it, you will understand that she made an example of a monkey, that they have actually a complex brain. If you train them, they can do many things a human can do. But now what makes you different from this monkey? It is your advanced brain that is actually created in God's perspective. Because your brain is created in God's perspective. That is the reason why he said, let us make a man in our own image. And he made you. So your brain is actually in God's perspective, he created it. So it is up for you to use that brain, activate that frontal lobe, activate your critical thoughts, critical thinking, in order to analyze and know how to digest information and actually process it and bring it out. You don't just come in and you heard that they said, you just take it in. That is, if you just agree to everything you hear, including those that are perspectives, and you call them direct truth without any further investigation, it means that a monkey is better than you. Because when you think about the evolution of a man, evolution of human being, you will understand there are many levels. So in your life, there are levels that you need to activate in order for you to have power to discern, power to make decision, power to take information, process it, and actually bring it out. That's what makes you a human being. If you want to understand what our First Lady is talking about, I want you to ask anybody to actually put you through to where the agent provocateurs where they have a lot of their members, so that you will engage in argument with them. You will understand that there is nothing in the brain of these people, because what you see in their brain is that our leader say you should listen to one particular idiot. Our leader say you should listen to one particular. That is the only response they will continue to give you. But our leader say you should listen to him. But they will not hear the clause after he said that. There was a clause. Do not allow devil to enter you. They don't want to digest that one. These are the people when they just have a dream. You are going to be blessed, but because I don't want to actually bring it to the Christian churches that they will claim they are prophets. They tell you are going to be blessed, but when there is a prophecy given to you through the Bible, because prophecy comes from the Bible, you are going to be blessed, but what? You need to look for that but to know if you must obey the law, the principle of the blessings that you must possess, or that is coming to you before the blessing will come to you. These are the things that there are principles that you must follow before you become successful. Principles. And that principle is guided by wisdom, guided by knowledge. Without this wisdom, without this knowledge, you will be ignorant until you die. That is exactly what our First Lady is actually insinuating. If you cannot get it now, you will never get it. Let us continue.
Made a conscious decision to have your frontal lobe stimulated, as the case may be. Our land today will not be desecrated with the blood of our people. Our land will not be contaminated with the information concocted by someone whose frontal lobe is designed to create confusion and milk you once you rise against each other. But 2023, we must cleanse it. I will wipe it clean. It is imperative that we do so. If your frontal lobe is developed, you would have perceived that all the teachings of our leader was to prepare you for a time such as this.
Okay, when we are talking about a time such as this, you will understand that now your enemy have seen the quality of your mind. That is the reason why Hope Uzodinma will go and present that shenanigan. He will present that shenanigan as if it is a movie that is actually being directed by a child. They will present those people and they will now tag it to IPOB. They will present those dramas because they have seen the quality of your mind. They have seen that everything that our leader has been talking about, that the people he was talking to, or the Kebana Osamiri no Kute. That is the reason why the zoo will never leave any stone unturned than to make you to look criminal and stupid. Because what they are presenting, it is stupid. But having seen the quality of your mind, that is the reason why they have to present something stupid that you will be actually, captivated with. Because this is the problem that you have in that zoo. It is not only you, it is only those who have listened to the message of enlightenment from our leader that has the ability to actually discern what exactly they are presenting. If you do not have that, ability to discern, it means that the message of our leader did not sink in. This is the quality of the mind of every average people from Nigeria. The quality of their mind is exactly as that same thing Hope Uzodinma is presenting. That is the reason why Hope Uzodinma will go and burn marketplace, and they will tell you, he will send military to go and burn marketplace. They will tell you that there is activities of bandits there. That is the quality of their mind. Their mind is actually, decimated with ignorance. So this is exactly the reason why they are presenting all these shenanigans. Because your mind as a zoo animal is very low. They are laughing at you when you are making all those your stupid and rubbish sentiments. Our leader said you should listen to him. Our leader said you should listen to you. They are laughing at you because even them, they know the truth. Even them that is not even, in this, contract of trying to bring IPOB down, but they are laying neutral, they are not supportive, they are not oppositive, they are actually looking at you, laughing at you because they know the truth. You are actually be reacting or based on a layman perspective because you are lame. But let us continue to listen to our Lolo.
So you do not fall and replace the development of your frontal lobe with unbridled emotional perception. If your frontal lobe is activated, you will ask questions unceasingly. You will ask yourself, what have you learned all these years from the teachings of our leader, Mazin Nnamdi Kanu? I want a circulation of our leader's appearance in 2015 in CK. That is why I love Aba people. 1929, the Aba women riot. Aba people, they are strong-willed. This nonsense, people are being kidnapped in Enugu, Soch and the rest of them. Do you hear such nonsense in Aba? Aba will tell you that you cannot come and speak to about person and the person will swallow you hook, line, and sinker. They will reason. They will analyze what you have just said to them. Please find that video of the appearance, the rally of our leader in 2015, TK Siaba. People were running from our area. People were leaving their shops and running like they were mad. They were going crazy. They wanted to go and see the man who had made a conscious decision using his frontal lobe to bring his people together. He thrived on showing his people the path to achieving the same, and the meaning of one family. You could travel home without the fear of being kidnapped. There was no incessant killing of our people. Nnamdi Kanu's primary aim is the protection of our people. And he knows the dangers of people with undeveloped frontal lobes. And he kept asking you, he knows the dangers of such people, the mayhem they could cause for the people, because they do not understand the vitality of loyalty. They join the freedom fighting body with their undeveloped frontal lobe, which they brought from their local meeting groups to cause confusion. You are under the sound of my voice today. You are one of the people, you blackmailed your brother and sister just for your position. And then when you mess up in that position, which you did not get using the right path, what do? You run back to the person you initially blackmailed, and you two will gather together against the body you were once part of. Your frontal lobe needs to be activated. You need to stimulate it. If your frontal lobe is activated, you would know that the union you have formed with the person you once blackmailed is smeared and fraught with danger, enveloped with dishonesty, grudge, and disdain. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Who is your friend? He is not your friend. That is another danger with mantras. You drop enemy is my friend. When you're done dealing with that enemy, this person will deal with you. Because your relationship is not based, you didn't kick it off based on a good premise. It's formed based on killing someone else or maiming someone else. Therefore, your relationship is hokey pokey, it does not exist. You two are deceiving yourselves. You are deceiving each other because one thing you have in common is to destroy that body you once belonged to. After that, what next? You have yet to ask yourself that question because your frontal lobe is inactive. That is why you can't even ask the question. Clean up your hearts in 2023. Clean up your heart. Those of you that read the Bible, it says, lift up your hearts, all ye gates, and be ye lifted up, ye everlasting doors. What is the gate? Activate your frontal lobe so you can understand and identify what these gates are. Gates. The gate of confusion, the gate of backbiting, the gate of being power hungry, looking for where to fester confusion. Hitler once failed. Eventually, you can never stay on top forever. You will eventually come down. But make sure that as you were fighting your way up, you have the floor. You made it all smooth and nice. You put beds. Okay? That is what I'm trying to say. So that when you fall from there, and a lot of people are waiting for you. So you might like for messing up the ground whilst you were going up. So lift up your hearts, O ye gates, and be ye lifted up. When you activate that part of your brain, you will understand what these gates are. Tap into the consciousness of your being so you can see in the dark. For in the future, a lot of people will come to understand me in the dark. When it's dark, then that is when I see what you can't see. Those who are close to me know what I'm trying to say. I see what you can't see. And for you to be able to tap into that consciousness of your being, you need to acquaint yourself with darkness. Darkness is not evil.
Now, let me make a point of contact in the Bible quotation that our Lolo quoted here. Lift up your heart, O ye gates. Lift up your heart, O ye gates. What does that mean? Be security conscious so that you are always ready to engage. Lift up your heart. Be at alert because the enemy is throwing everything at any time that you might not know. They come like criminals to steal. When you talk about gate in the Bible, it talks about security. Anything about gates in the Bible, it talks about your security. So lift up your heart, O ye gates, O ye security, O ye media warriors, O ye IPOBs, O ye Biafrans, because the time of trial and tribulation is near. Do not be, so that you will not be taken by surprise. Lift up your heart, O ye gate, be at alert in order to discern, to understand what the devil or the enemy is about to actually use to shake you. That is exactly what it means. If you listen to her message, it is coded message which is actually embedded in wisdom that you must decode before you will be able to actually, understand it. But let us continue.
Things that you need to do. Darkness means a quiet path. It means a place where you sit and you see nothing but a tiny tunnel where you tap into the consciousness of your being, and then you can see better things. And we shout on the Bible, the chukwu hụrụ n'anya ka ọ na-ekpughere ihe zoro ezo. Ihe zoro ezo dịrị ndị na-adịrị mmadụ, nke zoro ezo dịrị Chineke, mana nke ekpuchiri ekpuchi, nke zoro ezo ka Chineke na-ezi ndị ọ hụrụ n'anya. Yeah, ndị ọ hụrụ n'anya, but you cannot be empty and he will show you nothing. Enweghị ihe ị ga-ahụ, because you're busy making too much noise and following noise all over the place. So you can't even hear him. So you need to find that part where you can tap, where you can be able to see that is God can show it to you. As I look at some people and I laugh because they think I see them for who they are. You think I don't know nothing about you? I do. Once you say hello to me, I know who you are already. So tap into the consciousness of your being, so you see in the dark and hear in the midst of noise. A wise man once said that in the midst of noise, you need to be able to pick wisdom, pick it up, capture that tiny bit of thing that can elude even the finest of minds. So you will be able to pick it. Why? Because you can tap. You can, in the midst of noise, you can hear. And in the dark, you can see. Connect with the power of discernment, and you will see the glory thereof. If we connect to being able to discern things.
In the midst of noise, you will be able to pick up wisdom. Only if you pay attention, not being carried away. In the midst of noise is when you will be able to pick up wisdom and, truth, because it is always truth and wisdom is something that is very quiet, calm. But in the midst of noise, if you pay very good attention, you pick it up. Because noise is loud, which is noise you see is very loud. And it makes no sense when it is, in the midst of noise. It might not make sense, but when you pay attention to the noise, you pick up wisdom. In the midst of noise. And when you pick up wisdom, you can as well see in the dark. When everybody is looking for a way out, you will find a way out because you are able to pick up wisdom in the midst of noise. Oboro kabule lulu, just like you will always phrase it. So, in this time that we are, in this time we are, into, or in this conundrum that we found ourselves into this time around, it is the time to separate the chaff from the wheat. But it pains the heart that the chaff is bigger than the wheat. That is actually what pains the mind. The chaff is bigger than the wheat. The chaff is a lot that need to be separated. How many is the wheat that is going to be actually, utilized to make a living? In the midst of noise, grab wisdom. In the time of darkness, the wisdom will lead you to see. You will see through a person. When a person speaks, that is the power of discernment and wisdom we talk about. Power of discernment and wisdom. When a person speaks, you will understand what they are actually heading to, or where they are heading to, or what they are actually insinuating. Just with what they said. That is the reason why the adage that comes from our land that says, onye kwuo okwu amalu uche ya, onye kwuo okwu amalu echiche obi ya, onye kwuo okwu amala amamihe ya. That is where that adage comes in. So, in this struggle, if you know you don't have that any of these qualities to discern, any of these qualities she talks about, it means that you need to go back to elementary part of this struggle. It talks about people. The reason why, when Nelly comes in, Nelly tell you she is Dr. Nelly. They tell you she is Dr. Nelly. Doctors, whenever you see a doctor behind a person's name, it means that that person is a PhD holder. A Dr. Nelly. And when she comes in, you see a PhD holder. How loose she is. How vulnerable she is to manipulations. She is a PhD holder or doctor. But you have seen how she ended up. This is it. It is not about the knowledge acquired when you pass through education or education pass through you. It is about something that a gift that God will give you. A spirit of discernment. A knowledge to understand or to explore. Knowledge is about exploration. Wisdom is about, it's all the package that carries it all. Because when you have wisdom, you will know where to investigate. You will know where to get out. You will know when to engage. You will know what, to do in every situation. That is wisdom. Knowledge is exploration, because knowledge comes when you have experience, when you study. That's when knowledge comes. And when you have this knowledge, you are now immune to ignorance. When you have knowledge, you are immune to ignorance. So in this journey that we have embarked upon, we need these qualities. At least you must come with one of them. Then you will know that you are indeed ready to lend hand in this struggle that we have embarked upon. It is not for everybody. Many are called, few are chosen. There are people who are forcing themselves in order to be there. They will do and kill just to be relevant. Is it what you are fighting for? They will blackmail just to be relevant. They will do anything possible for them to be in the limelight. Are we fighting for limelight here? Or are we fighting for freedom? Total emancipation. You must be able to understand that this is a selfless work. Because whenever you want to engage in freedom fighting, you will now activate Jesus' perspective. Because for you to understand the freedom fighting, you must understand you must understand Jesus' perspective. You must understand the history of Jesus Christ. He's a freedom fighter. He's a human being. He was a human being rather. He fought for the freedom of the Israelites. The same Israelite rally anyana kandilo eboya. And that is exactly what continues to play in our struggle, because these are the same people. The same people History, reputation, reputation of the history, it keeps on coming. But we don't have that power to discern. We don't have that, wisdom to understand. The reason why they told you Jesus Christ is a Holy Spirit, or he's a born of Holy Spirit, without analyzing to you what Holy Spirit is, or they explaining to you further what Holy Spirit is. Holy Spirit simply means the law. When you keep the law, you are holy. Because the Bible said the law is holy. When you keep the law, you are holy. You are a holy human being. When your parents and your mother and your father, they are God law abiding, they give birth to you, automatically you are born of Holy Spirit. If you don't know that, the reason why they cannot explain that to you in your church, in your Christianity, is for you not to see your Jesus in another human being who has a very good heart, a selfless human being, or somebody with altruistic, behavior that is willing to do everything to give you better life. That is the reason why they make you to see Jesus Christ as a winged creature. When your ancestors sold him to the enemy, that is the reason why the enemy brought him back and called you a white person with blue eyes, with long hair. Today, because whatever you sow is what you reap. That is what it is. If you like, there are two ways that seemeth right in the sight of man. The end of one of it is destruction. Narrow is the way. Narrow is the way that leadeth to life. Broad and beautiful and attractive is that way that leadeth to captivity. And that is the way you are following. Because in essence, it shine all over the place. Because ewere akwa ndị amị yiri gwa gị na a na-alụ amị na Europe, because na esetịla ọlụ gwa gị na a na-eme nke a. These are the things that they have used to captivate your mind, because there is always something that will be presented that is attractive, that will captivate your mind and actually remove it from where it should be. That is exactly what this enemy continue to do with you, because they will always present to you that way that leaded to captivity, which is a road that is very, very broad and beautiful, that you will not find thorns. They will make that road appear as if there is no thorns or suffering in that road. But when you engage through that road, the end of it, you will prefer to find thorns. To go through that one, you are going to meet thorns. You are going to meet challenges. You are going to meet actually, delay. You prefer to go through that route. That is the reason why anybody, as you know, is I say that nifa huta no holo na no holo. I know na madu nike na nike. Because now these are the things that happens, that they come, they want to do it. Then those who are looking up to that person who those who are looking up to him to survive, where will they find themselves? Because they don't have spirit of discernment. That is exactly what it is. Our people, you need to wake up. Wake up from your slumber. Do not let your loyalty lie with somebody who does not deserve it for a minute, because that is your problem. You allow yourself to give your loyalty and time, energy and money to a person who does not deserve it. The fact that Jesus Christ was Jesus Christ does not mean that his brothers are holy. The fact that Jesus was holy does not mean that his siblings are holy. Don't give your loyalties to somebody because his brother is this. That is the reason why in the book of Romans 9:13, the Bible says, I chose to love whom I chose to love, and I chose to hate whom I chose to hate. Does that mean that is unrighteousness with God? God forbid. Onye ọ ga-emere ebere ka ọ ga-emere ebere, onye ọ ga-azọpụta ka ọ ga-azọpụta, onye ọ ga-ahụ n'anya ka ọ ga-ahụ n'anya. Ọ pụtara na o nwere na Chukwu na-ekpe ikpe aghụghọ. Chukwu forbid. Oh, otu ọ dị. For the fact that I am Judge Money, preaching this gospel for emancipation does not mean that my brother will have the same philosophy. Does not mean that my son will have the same philosophy or the same, message or the same belief. They might even be against my preaching. I can assure you, my siblings, some of my siblings, they are against my preaching. Do you know why? Because I see no ofunne na amu, but oburu ofuchukwu na eke. That is the reason why so many of you who, because you have seen that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is an honest man, he's an humble man, he's a good man, he's somebody who is selfless, he is behaving in Jesus' perspective, and yet, because he is now not there, you say, no, since this man is an honest man, let me go and lean on Kanu Kanu. He is the brother. Kanu Kanu, the brother, is the only person that must be trusted. Believe you me, if I am preaching this type of gospel, does not mean that my brother must be entrusted with this type of gospel. Because they have their own calling. They have their own differences. So those of you who are looking for, who are loyal to Kanu Kanu, instead of being obedient to the instruction given to you, because our problem is, disobedient, rebellious. Our people, if you check through the history of our people, rebellion is the problem of our people. Rebellion is the problem. Ignorant. Kande more. Akwami today, Emike. Once an law causing on Aramanu. That has been the problem of our people and will always be. Let us actually finish listening to our First Lady, our Lolo. Onyoga Dilemma, Wanyemobidia. Then I will actually, there is somebody who actually made a comment in the teaching that I did yesterday. I made a comment there. After the teaching of our Lolo, I will give you a reply because I did not see those comments, but I saw it later. But I actually replied, but I will give it a verbal reply. Let us continue.
We will be better people come the end of 2023. We will, and I promise you that. But where we are today, we need to sanitize. Sometimes it's as if Nnamdi Kanu has spent since 2012 talking, and people just come. They don't listen. They listen to leader. Our leader. Us follow you. Support. We are formidable. We are indomitable. One wind. Rubbish. Someone who can barely find the road to his house is telling you it's bringing you Biafra 2023 and your frontal lobe needs to be stimulated. Stimulate it. Because this is becoming it is becoming too an agenda. My mother would say, hara hara okay, it seems we're all mad. How can you ever get anything if you don't have a line of hierarchical structure? How can? It is foolishness. Learn to differentiate when you're foolish and indisciplined. Learn to know your place. Learn to know your place. I once got a message. Somebody, if I was Nnamdi Kanu's wife, what I would be doing? Why don't you see me everywhere, looking for what you need to do? Because I know my place. Because I understand the hierarchical structure process. Because Ishi cannot have iburu mmiri n'ishi. No. Every part of the body has its functions. Learn that. Always incorporate natural biological things, analyzing them, incorporate them into the things you're looking at. It will help you to create simulations. People go to church and see that and pastor will preach. They just, it's when I became, not when I became, I've always known what I am, but I wasn't completely blossomed in the fullness of my personality. But eventually, when I started to understand who I am and to understand the things that I see, I am able to analyze the things I see. By the time I'm done breaking it, 99.9% of people that come around me, it wears me out. It wears me out because I feed off people. So when you come around me, I feed off you. I know if you're true or if you're a horrible person. I know. Oh, I know. And gradually they fizzle, they disappear. Some, I don't have to say anything to them. They figure out that I already know. They don't come around me anymore. That is my strength. You will see the glory thereof once you begin to discern the wisdom. Once you begin to hear the important things in the midst of noise. Once you begin to see things in the dark, you will see the glory thereof. Nobody would sway you. And with that, be strong in the face of your enemies. When you see evil, call it evil. Speak the truth always, because truth is strength. Ezioku will set you free. Ezioku will kikeregi. Ezioku, truth is honor. Truth is light. And it remains your stronghold. That is the only thing that is constant, the truth. Ezioku will eventually come up. I like the music that our brother Jonathan played, and it would be nice if he could please play that song again afterwards. He says, "Ohoro sinaya hoge, oboya kipe mara. Oriri sinaya erigi, oboya bute ajo. Amawona, ogade kolu ebube. Egbasi alika, uche chukwu geme. Mgboge chukwu ruru, akwa mkpuche kewasịa. Amawona, Ọ ga-adị ka ọlụ ebube. Ọ ga-adị ka ọlụ ebube mgbe oge Chukwu ruru. When the time comes, nothing can stop it. The miracle that awaits us. But we must be prepared with a clean heart and stimulated frontal lobe. This is Radio Biafra, where we worship. From me here, it is Happy New Year to you once again. Good evening.
Shalom, 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 our First Lady. So, now, ọ ga-adị ka ọlụ ebube mgbe oge chi ruru, akwa mgbochi ga-ekewa, amara m, ọ ga-adị ka ọlụ ebube. The last miracle is Biafra. Biafra is the last miracle that breaks the chain of neo-colonial power. The Biafra it is. So be watchful, watch and pray, because it will be like a miracle. Now, thank you, our Lolo. You have spoken very well, just like your learned and wise husband. That means that you have been in the council of wise of your husband. Thank you very much for giving us this lesson this evening. That is up to you. There was something I was talking about yesterday. It is not unconnected to what we are still talking about here. Having the mind to, the spirit to discern and the wisdom. Now, somebody called Chidimma Chrissy. I was talking about, the message yesterday. I was talking about which Chidimma, wrote to me and said, I disagree with you that the Europeans are the Edomites. This is about the history that the Europeans are the Edomites. Europeans are Gentiles, according to Genesis 10:1 verse 5. Jesus even calls them Gentiles in Matthew 20:18-19, Mark 10:33 to 34, Luke 18:31-33, and even Paul said he is an epistle of the Gentile. Okay, said in, he didn't phrase it well, but I believe you are trying to say Paul said in his epistle of, to the Gentile, and demonstrated by going to only white countries, example, Rome, Corinthians, Galatia, Ephesus, Philippi, Thessaloniki, and he was getting ready to go to Spain. Now, I am going to not use a lot of time because your question here is very, it is something that confuses a lot of people when they read Paul's letter. Paul's letter is something that the pastors does not understand, but they preach it a lot. Now let me explain to you. The word called Gentile simply means an alien or foreign. Anything, anywhere you see word called Gentile, it means a foreign, it means a foreigner, it means a alien, depending on which vocabulary you understand more. Paul took the message to the Gentile nation. He took the message to the Gentile nation because our people were scattered all over the Gentile nation. So he took the message to the foreign land where our people were dwelling. Because our people now, some of them were seen as Gentile because they were born in Gentile nation, in alien nation. So when we talk about Gentile, we are talking about something foreign, foreigner. You are a Gentile in the land of where you are domiciled, that is not Biafra land. If you are a Biafran, you are an alien. Likewise, I, an alien where I am domiciled, because I am not from there. So that is exactly when you see Gentile. Don't be deceived. Some of these words that you see in the Bible, I want you, when you see them, go and use dictionary to actually explain it to yourself, or you use etymology dictionary. It gives you better understanding and the ancient words for all these things, because when you study through etymology, you will understand so many things differently from what you are understanding. Now, when you think about Gentile nation, or when he said that he took the message to the Gentile, does not mean he took the message for the Romans in Rome, or to the Corinthians in Corinth, or to the Galatians in Galatia, or to the Ephesus or Ephesians in Ephesus, or in Philippians in Philippi, or to Thessalonians in Thessalonian. He took that message to his people, which is our bloodline, who were dwell scattered across the nation of the earth, who does not even know their good norms and value system anymore. That's why he took that message back to them to remind them of whom they are. Just like Mazen Nnamdi Kanu took the message of freedom to America, to tell Americans, you are Biafrans. You can fund this movement and we will restore the land of God, which is the land where we are going to have freedom and peace. He took the message to America, to the Gentiles, because America still remain Gentiles as far as these people who are not from there are concerned, which is our people. So that is exactly the same way. He took the message to Kuwait, which is Gentile nation, to our people, to tell them that what are you going to benefit from this Gentile nation you are? Are you going to buy a house here? Are you going to be given a citizenship? Are you going to be a leader in this place? No, because you come from somewhere, and this is how we do it where you come from. Until you recognize your good norms and value system and go back to it, you are going to be in this Gentile nation, wasting your time without achieving nothing. So that is exactly what Gentile nation is. So all this book of the Bible that you have quoted, it talks about Paul taking the message to the Gentile nation. It talks about this is how they don't understand it, and they will explain it, and they will explain it the same way you understood it, but they are supposed to be your teacher. Those pastors and priests, they will tell you that when you argue with them that Paul took the message to the Israelite, they will argue with you that it was why did they say that he took it to the Gentile nation? Because they don't understand. I want you, whenever you come across this argument, present it the way I presented it, and see if that your learned pastor will not change and preach the truth. Because what we are doing is for people to begin to preach the truth, not preach the Bible upside down, which makes people now reject Bible and call it white people's giving. Our truth is there, and everything that you are looking for is there. When you marry that Bible, you will be wise. So when you found out the truth of the Bible, you find out the truth of your life. Because Genesis 46 verse 16, you will find the name of your ancestors in there. There is no name of our white person's ancestors that you will find in the Bible, other than where they are talking about using them to actually, tell you about them, tell you what, like Edomites. Edomite was the separation because Abraham was promised to be the father of the nation. The father of the nation. The father of the nation. That is the reason why from the seed of Abraham, Edomite was born, Israelite was born. Two different nations, according to the book of Genesis 25:25. We shall separate from the bow of Rebekah. The elder shall serve the younger one. They were fighting even from the stomach. That is the reason why you see the fight between Europeans and Africans and every other person. Because that fight was from the beginning. Then the blessings that was supposed to go to the elder went to Africa, which is the younger. The Edoms, they were the elder. But because the people that blessings went to does not know how to keep that blessing, they rebelled against the God who gave them that blessing. That blessing turned to a curse, which is the resources you have today. That resources now turn to a curse to you, because that resources is the reason why you are suffering from a system that makes you run away from it, makes police kill you, brings you police brutality. That is as a result of rebelling to the, to the principle that will continue to keep that structure and that blessings. Now another man is reaping that blessing. Until you realize that I have actually rebelled against this God who actually made us. And you go back to your ways, your good norms and value system. I call it the good norms and value system. Even the people who call themselves Ordinana people today, they do not know the difference between Omenana and Ordinana because they are blind. They are blind. They teach for hire. Everything they do is all about money. The prophecy was given. It is that Inu is derived from the Bible context where the animal sacrifice is being made, because through this animal sacrifice, all these things that they will be having meat. Even when you don't need to do animal sacrifice, they will compel you to go and do animal sacrifice. Just like with fundraising. When they compel you to do animal sacrifice, then people are now complaining. Animal sacrifice to appease the gods. If I na where be ekpoalo na ana Biafra. Ekpoalo. Akpoalo with obala anu ofia. Anu no. Anu ofia. Akpoalo. So, ndị nze weluzie ya na-atapụ anụ mgbe ọbụla onye mee nke ome asị ya je pụta ewu ka egbuo ka wee kpụọ alụ. So all these things now triggered Christ to say, let me represent that animal sacrifice, which is him becoming the sacrificial lamb. He now accepts to do everything, to die, even in order to make our people to be free from this exploitation of Ndins and Ndozo. That is the only law Christ came and changed, which he fulfilled it, the law of animal sacrifice. So many pastors will tell you we are living by grace. We are no longer living by law. Tell that pastor, tell him to go and sleep with somebody's wife and see if he's living by grace or by law. Tell that pastor to go and steal from somebody and know whether we are living by grace or by law. These are the things that they will not tell you. They will put it in a place where it favors them. And we find out Nsana. Nsana is deep rooted in the commandment of Chukwu Okike Abiama. Chukwu Abiama. Nsana. Ime Nsana. N'oge gboo, you must kpụọ ị ga-akpụnata alụ. Ịkpụọ to appease the land, which is called the animal sacrifice in the Bible. Translation made us not to understand our book of law, our constitution book, translation, and modern teaching from your religious leaders. But we are here now to bring back our good norms and value system, because it will help us to thrive when we get our holy land of Biafra, when we actually bring it back to us. The prophecy of losing that land was given to our ancestors, David. The prophecy of losing that land was given to us through Deuteronomy 28. If we rebel, I want all of you, go and read Deuteronomy 28 to the end. You will see the blessings of keeping the law and the curse of not keeping it. Then you will see even he said that a nation will come from the end of the earth. A nation will come from afar. They will take you in a captive. They will put a yoke of iron on your neck until thou be destroyed. You will go to a slave with a sheep. It is written there. So now it is as a result of leaving your own father's truth to embrace another. As in onye lapụ eziokwu nna ya soro nke onye ọzọ, anyị na-akwụ ya ụgwọ. Awa anyị na-akwụ anyị ụgwọ today. And it is paying us. The land of Biafra is paying us for rebelling against our truth and embracing the truth of Europeans. It is destroying us until we do the right thing. We will never ever thrive. You will continue to go from pillar to post. That is the reason why the last miracle is Biafra restoration. It is going to be the last miracle. And it can only come faster if you change your mind. Emancipation of your mind. Seek ye first the kingdom, that every other thing may be added unto thee. What is that kingdom? The brain that God giveth to you, which was created in God's perspective. If you understand what is given to you in your brain, in your upper, body, on top of your shoulder, you will understand that that is where everything that your kingdom. It is from the brain you build a nation. It is from the brain you build anything. You create a kingdom. So the brain gives you the knowledge to create a kingdom. Seek ye first that brain. If you cannot find it, pray that God open that brain to work for you, to discern, to understand. The prayer of Solomon was the biggest, was the best to God, because he didn't ask for money. He asked for what brings everything, which is wisdom. Do you know what is actually, when you speak one word, it covers millions of words that somebody might speak in explaining it. Just like our Lolo spoke, spoke this earlier on. She embedded her words in what is called idiom or figuratives, which, if you decode it, it means you are wise. That is exactly what is going on. For you to understand our predicament, you need to understand our fault. For you to have a solution to our problem, you need to understand the problem itself and how it began. Do you know, mistakenly, if I tell you this, I actually attended my primary school in the village. In the village. My primary school. In the village. Then during that time, I was in the primary school in the village, early 90s. I was able to, be exposed to some history, which I will never forget. In my primary, I think I was in primary three. I was not actually brilliant in that school. I was not brilliant in that school, but I was able to pick up something that is very important. During that time of my primary school, I was in primary three, there was a history that was taught, that they taught us. But that history, they said it is according to the myth and legendary story. The myth and legendary story, that was the time we were able to still see something that is historical in our curriculum. It was still there, it was removed gradually. But that historical, teachings during that time, they call it myth and legendary story, so that you will not take it seriously. They said, according to the myth and legend, the father of Igbo land was Eri. Eri, E-R-I. Eri. And they said he's from Umunri. Eri of Umunri. That was the history I learned from primary three. Eri from Umunri. And they say it is a mythical story, myth and legendary story, which now weaken the truth that they have taught me. That was the truth. It weakens the truth they have taught me. Now, as I was growing up, this thing that I heard never departed from me. It never departed. It is one of the things I remembered, even up until today. Now, as I was growing up, when I started decolonizing, when I started digging deep, when I started reading books, I actually started reading occultic books. I started reading, Bible apocryphas. I started reading the removed books from the Bible, just like the book of who is this man that actually, according to the story, it says that he went to heaven. What is the name of this guy in the Bible? It is. I started reading so many of these books that was removed from the Bible. I started researching further. I researched. I was eager to know who God is. I was eager to know what happened to Africa. I was eager to know the truth about myself, where I come from, until I came across the book of Genesis 46:16. The book of Enoch was what the name I was looking for. The book of Enoch. I read the book of Enoch. That was where I discovered there is first heaven, second heaven, third heaven, fourth heaven, and up until fifth heaven. The third heaven is where God is dwelling. The third heaven. That is the reason why our people, if they are praying, they say, Chukwu okike bi n'eluigwe nke atọ. Chukwu okike bi n'eluigwe nke atọ. So many people in Christianity does not know. They tell you that there is nothing like first heaven, second heaven, third heaven. But when you read the book of Enoch, you will understand how he visited all those places. And when we talk about this heaven, where do you think they are? They are not in this firmament you see. They are not in this firmament you see. Your heaven can be created in this earth. There is heaven. There is hell. And all of them are in this world. And there is a realm of the spirit. There is a realm. But that would be a topic for another day. So when I read the book of Genesis 46 verse 16, when I saw that the seventh son of Jacob, if you have the Bible, open it. The seventh son of Jacob was called Gad. Gad. And the children of Gad was Arodi, Areli, Eri, Eri. The same Eri that was taught, they taught me, the same Eri that I was taught in primary 3 in the village. And they call it a legendary story that we originated from this Eri. Now Eri happens to be an Israelite, the son of Jacob, which is, Jacob is the ancestor of Eri. And I researched further to find out that Eri is a tribe of Judah. And Jesus Christ is a tribe of Judah. So if my ancestor is Jesus Christ, how come he becomes white today? So these are the things. That is one you call, he said that, when our first lady is, talk about you activating your mind to work for you, the front load. Activating the front load. And it takes an awakened person to activate this front load. You will not be, everything you do, you will do it like, you make a rational decision. A rational decision. Not making decisions based on your emotions, making decisions based on what you don't want to actually offend this person. This person is destroying you, but you don't want to offend him. No. That is the reason why Isaiah, in the book of Isaiah 58, he said, speak and show the people their transgression. I believe Isaiah 56 verse 3. He said, speak and show thy people their transgression. Because so many of you, when you talk about judging somebody is not when you say the truth about that person. Judging somebody is when somebody commits something that you assume or that is presumed to be crime. You kill that person. That is judging somebody. When you tell your pastor that your pastor is a criminal, you are robbing people, you are lying to people, it is not judging the pastor. You are stating a fact. It is only when you use a machete or gun to shoot your pastor because you have found out he exploited you. That is when you have judged your pastor. So when you speak out does not mean you are judging somebody. You are stating a fact. Many things that our people need to understand and know that will save them. But these things are the things that when we talk about them, you will find out you won't have people watching you. You won't have people listening because narrow is the way. That is the reason why whenever I come online, I don't look at the number that is watching me. I just deliver the message the way it is given. When I deliver it, those who belong to the truth shall eventually learn the truth. Until we meet again, stay safe. Bye for now.